Day 1. The Descent. As Jake and I stood at the entrance of the lost city of Shadow, the air was thick with excitement and dread. The tour guide, a quirky, energetic man named Tom, greeted us with a warm smile. "Welcome to Shadow. You're about to embark on an unforgettable journey." With our backpacks filled with cameras and flashlights, we exchanged nervous glances and entered the dark abyss, feeling like pioneers on the brink of discovery. The narrow, damp staircase echoed with our footsteps as we descended into the shadows. The air was cool, and with each step, I could almost feel the history pulsing beneath us. Tom led the way, his enthusiasm contagious. Legend says this city was once a thriving civilization, abandoned overnight. We'll explore ancient chambers, decipher cryptic messages, and maybe even uncover some hidden treasures. As we entered the main chamber, a stunning array of carvings adorned the walls, depicting scenes of celebrations and rituals. I felt a rush of awe, but beneath it lingered an unsettling feeling, as if the city was alive, watching us. Day 2. The Vanishing Act. The second day began with an early start, but the atmosphere had shifted. Tom seemed restless, glancing at his watch constantly. "We'll explore deeper today," he announced, leading us down a narrower passageway. The excitement turned to anxiety when, just hours into our exploration, Tom suddenly disappeared. One moment he was ahead of us, and the next, he was gone without a trace. "Tom," we called out, but our voices echoed back, swallowed by the darkness. Panic set in as we retraced our steps, the oppressive silence growing heavier. "He has to be close," Jake said, trying to reassure me, but the unease gripped my heart. After what felt like hours, we stumbled upon a chamber filled with eerie murals. They depicted figures engaged in bizarre rituals, their faces twisted in expressions of fear. "We need to find Tom," I urged, but Jake's face had turned pale. What if he's not coming back?" Just as fear threatened to consume us, a faint voice echoed through the corridor, "Help me, please." Day 3. Whispers in the Dark. The following day, we set out to find Tom, determined to uncover the truth. Our flashlight beams cut through the darkness as we followed the echoes of his voice. With each step, I felt a tightening in my chest, the weight of the unknown pressing down on us. Eventually, we discovered a hidden passage that led to a dimly lit chamber. As we stepped inside, our flashlights illuminated strange markings on the walls, symbols we hadn't seen before. "These look like warnings," Jake said, his voice shaking. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and the walls began to shift. "We need to leave," I shouted, but the room began to close in on us. In a desperate attempt, I pulled Jake toward an exit, but just as we reached it, we heard a blood-curdling scream. It was Tom. Without thinking, we rushed back, following the sound. "Tom," we shouted, but the darkness swallowed our cries. Day 4. The Tunnels of Truth. On the fourth day, our hope began to dwindle. Jake and I wandered through an endless maze of tunnels, each one leading us deeper into the heart of Shadow. As we walked, the whispers grew louder, echoing off the walls. "Stay, help, leave." I was convinced the city was alive, each tunnel pulsing with its secrets. "We have to keep moving," I insisted, but Jake had become withdrawn, haunted by the thought of Tom's disappearance. While exploring a narrow tunnel, we stumbled upon a strange artifact, a small, ornate box engraved with the same symbols we had seen earlier. It hummed with energy, and as I reached for it, I felt a jolt of electricity surge through me. "Careful," Jake warned, but it was too late. The box snapped open, revealing a collection of ancient scrolls. As I scanned through them, a chilling realization struck me. These scrolls contained accounts of the city's last days, hinting at a catastrophic event that led to its downfall. "Look at this," I said, pointing to a drawing of a ritual. They were trying to summon something. Suddenly, a loud crash reverberated through the tunnel, and I dropped the scrolls. "We need to go," Jake shouted, panic evident in his voice. Day 5. The Encounter. By day 5, the air had grown thick with tension. Every corner we turned seemed to harbor a new threat, and the shadows felt like they were closing in. Just as despair threatened to consume us, we discovered another chamber filled with flickering candles and strange symbols etched into the walls. "This must have been a ceremonial site," I whispered, captivated by the sight. But the air grew colder, and I felt a presence lurking behind us. "Did you hear that?" Jake asked, his eyes darting around the room. Before I could respond, the candles flickered violently, and a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. It was Tom. "Help me," he cried, his voice hoarse and desperate. "Tom, we thought you were gone," I exclaimed, rushing to his side. But as we reached him, the shadow behind him deepened, and he began to scream, "It's too late. You have to leave now." Without warning, the shadow lunged at us, and I felt a cold grip around my throat. In a panic, I pulled Jake back, but it was too late. Tom had vanished, absorbed into the darkness. Day 6, the truth unveiled. The 6th day dawned heavy with grief. Jake and I were determined to uncover the truth behind Tom's disappearance. As we revisited the chamber where we found the scrolls, we noticed a hidden passage concealed by rubble. With renewed determination, we pried it open and stepped inside. The walls closed in around us, and a sickening dread filled my stomach. The deeper we ventured, the more chaotic the markings became, illustrating the fall of shadow in vivid detail. Suddenly, we entered a vast chamber where the shadows coalesced into a swirling mass. A ghostly figure emerged, an ancient priestess of the city, her voice echoing with sorrow. "You've awakened the darkness," she warned, her eyes piercing through me. "Where is Tom?" I cried, desperation flooding my voice. "The city demands a sacrifice," she replied cryptically, "to quell the anger of those lost." Before we could comprehend her words, the chamber shook violently. "You must choose," she hissed. "One must stay, or all will perish." Day 7, the final choice. On the 7th day, we stood on the precipice of despair. I felt the weight of the priestess's words pressing down on us as we retraced our steps, hearts racing. "What if we don't make it out?" Jake said, his voice trembling. "We will," I replied, though my heart was heavy with uncertainty. As we entered the altar room one final time, the shadows loomed closer, pulsating with life. The priestess appeared once more, her gaze unwavering. "Make your choice," she urged. Tears filled my eyes as I looked at Jake, my heart torn. "I can't lose you," I whispered, reaching for his hand. He shook his head. "I won't let you make that choice. We'll find another way." As the shadows surged around us, I realized that true love meant sacrifice. "We'll do this together," I declared, my voice steady. With a shared resolve, we stepped forward, arms linked, and together we faced the swirling mass. Light erupted around us, banishing the shadows. As the light faded, we found ourselves back at the entrance of shadow, breathless and alive. "I can't believe we made it out," I gasped, looking at Jake, who wore an expression of relief mixed with disbelief. "I don't know how we did, but we did it together," he replied, pulling me into a tight embrace.